Do I look like the type of person that would do a movie review for a kid's movie? Don't answer that. If this movie makes me cry like the last one, I'm walking out. Today is not the day to be crying over anamorphic Skittles. Let's go. All right, let's talk about it. So that was Inside Out 2, directed by Kelsey Mann. Stars the voice talents of Amy Poehler. Is that how you pronounce her last name? I've never known. Maya Hawke, Phyllis Smith, and a whole bunch of other people. This is the sequel to the 2015 film Inside Out, which was, 9 years ago? Golly, that's crazy. So Riley is now a teenager, and we have her, from birth emotions, well, almost from birth emotions, joy, sadness, disgust, anger, and fear. Anger is my favorite. I adore anger. The last movie, it was all about Riley's core memories and preserving those core memories and how important they were to her sense of self. Now this is all about Riley's belief system, her self-perception, how she sees herself, her true self, so to speak. And that's what's at stake here. Because now that she's entering puberty, we have a whole host of new emotions: boredom, embarrassment, envy, and anxiety. And anxiety has decided to take over headquarters because these old emotions, they're not needed anymore. Are you done? I did not cry like I did in the first one. The first one, it wasn't sad overall. It just had that one random moment. We all know what it is. We're not going to talk about it because if I say anything, if I even say the words, I'm going to start crying. But it had that one moment that just tore you into pieces. There isn't that moment here. Now, there are some weepy little moments here that I think are going to catch adults more than children. About that, though. This is Pixar, correct? So Pixar has a very wide mass appeal. Whether you're 2 years old or 92, you can enjoy Pixar. But in spite of having a mass wide appeal, there is still a target audience. My question is, who is this movie for? Who is the target audience here? It's not kids. Not to say that kids won't enjoy this or it's too mature for children. I think there are certain aspects of the plot, the overall story, that might just go over kids' heads. I think anxiety might be a little too much for kids, but it's colorful, it's beautiful. There are a lot of goofy little antics. It's funny. So kids are going to enjoy this definitely, but in terms of the message, the central themes here, I think adults are going to find it very nostalgic. We've all been there. It's one big memory. And I think, kids who are preteen and teens are definitely going to relate because this is their story here. These are the changes that they're going through right now. Amy Poehler kind of mentioned it offhand, but I don't think it's a bad idea. I am not opposed to seeing Miley grow up and seeing how these different emotions change and grow with her. I feel like there's a lot that can be learned here. This is one of those movies where it's entertainment, it's gold entertainment, but there's also a lot to learn in it. I would love to hear a psychologist's perspective of this movie and the original, the first one. So I want to make sure I'm very clear here because I know a lot of parents, you're waiting to hear, what is Savannah going to say about Inside Out 2? I think if you have a child under the age of 7, a lot is going to go over their head, but it's good, goofy fun. They're going to enjoy it regardless. I think if you have a preteen, teenager, or an adult that's coming with you, or you're the adult, it's a good movie. Now, is it as good as the first movie? No. Not even close, honestly, if I'm being real with you. I blame it on the curse of it being a sequel because at times it felt very rushed, a little clunky. Instead of this being a fresh new story, a fresh new take on our girl Riley, I feel like the story started in part 1 or the first movie, and we're just kind of picking up on that train. Instead of us getting a separate, completely different story of Riley, we're just picking up where we left off. So yeah, you do need to watch the first one if you haven't seen this one, just to kind of get a little backstory here. But that was my only real issue with this movie, is it felt like we were hopping onto a moving train. And sometimes that works. Sometimes I enjoy hopping into a plot that's already in motion. But this, I think it felt a little clunky and it felt kind of rushed. The plot was definitely thinner, much simpler than the first movie. I definitely laughed more in this one than I did in the first one, and I think that's because we get more screen time with the other emotions, particularly disgust and anger. Like, they're golden. Now, this being a family movie, there are definitely things that adults are going to get and adults are going to find funny that children are just not going to find funny. There's a moment where Fear says, I can change her. And me and old dude in the back lost our minds. It was a full theater, too. This is a 3 p.m. on a Thursday. Full theater. So if you don't have your ticket, get it now, boo. We also get more time with Riley in this than we did in the first go round. Less time with the parents, but we get more Riley, we get more anger, fear, and disgust, and all these extra emotions. There's just a lot going on that's going to go over your kid's head. I want to emphasize that. But they're going to have fun. I don't know what else to say about it. I enjoyed it. I loved it. That was sweet. That was precious. I'd watch that again. But I didn't boohoo cry, and that makes me happy.